You are listening to the On Purpose Podcast, your guide to living a more purposeful life. Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the On Purpose Podcast. It's a pleasure to be talking to you today and to have you here with us. It's, like I always tell you, it's very humbling to know the strength of our community and the impact this purposeful community is having on those around us. And this week I want to talk to you about what is your value? What is your value? And I want to kind of challenge our thinking a little bit on how we value ourselves. But before I do that, I want to say thank you to all of you on Patreon who have, through your financial generosity, helped us build and continue to build our On Purpose community around the world. And for those of you that are like, how do I support? How can I get to be part of this? Join us at patreon.com/the On Purpose Podcast. Find a membership to suit your budget and have the satisfaction of knowing that you are making somebody else's day better somewhere around the world by helping provide this content. So thank you to all of you that are joining us there. Please like, subscribe, review on your favorite podcast platform and help us continue to move towards our goal of being the most impactful podcast on the planet. All right, let's talk about this week. Let's talk about value this week. How do we value ourselves? All right, I want you to think about it. Like, how do you assign value to you? Is it based on the roles you're playing? Son, daughter, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, brother, sister, grandma, grandpa? Is it that relationship status that brings you value? Or I think of this as, certain times we get to a certain age in our life or we're maybe older and stuff, and we feel like we can just say whatever we want because we've earned that right. And, you may be able to feel that, but maybe that isn't the best way to act, right? Maybe just because you've had a certain number of years on the planet doesn't just open a door for you to say whatever you think you want to say and leave other people to deal with the ramifications, nor does it mean you're an expert on anything. It just means you've had more opportunities. Right? So do we see our value in those relationships, in the titles? Or do we find our value in our profession or our occupation? The title that comes with our job, the rank if we're in something that has a military type structure, the prestige of certain jobs over other jobs. Is our value determined by what we do, how we make money? So many of us tie up our identities in our profession. And I'll tell you, one of the worst is law enforcement. Police officers many times will identify themselves first as a police officer, second as a human, second to their own families. And it's not just police. It's in a lot of different professions. That person is grinding and working away, and we've been tricked into thinking we have to work more to get more. And a lot of times that ends up leading us down a road of less relationships, less connection, less truly meaningful love in our lives. Is our value determined by the amount of things we have? The square footage of our home, the year of your vehicle, the biggest, the brightest, and the shiniest of new toys? Keeping up with the Joneses, if you will? Is that how we figure out our value? Well, what's the problem with that is you never get enough stuff, right? There's always something new, something shiny, or something bigger, or something faster that you got to have, right? And this leads to the era of discontent, the idea that I'm never enough because there's always something more I should have. And I want to challenge you to ask yourself as you're listening and you're thinking, the roles I play in my life, are assigned to me, right? Like, I don't choose to be somebody's son or daughter. Like, that was assigned. Father, like, I get to be these roles, but they're part of who I am. They're not all of who I am. My occupation is a way to make money, to make ends meet, to provide so that I can live the most meaningful life I want to live. The amount of things I own, what I buy, should support me as to who I want to become. But all of these external things can be influenced by other people, right? There's controls and decisions that can't change necessarily if I get promoted at work, if I get that pay raise to buy that new bigger thing, right? A bad manager, a bad boss, unfair work. Maybe you're just not the best. Maybe a better coworker deserves that promotion over you. But if I'm tying up my identity and how I feel about myself on external things that I don't control, well, today could be a day we change that. Today could be a day that we say, hey, wait a second. I get to determine my value and how I feel about me. Nobody else gets to do this. Not my boss, not my coworkers, not the guy selling me the fanciest, newest thing. Nobody else gets to decide how I'm going to feel about me and how much I'm going to value me. I get to do that. So what about if we choose to value ourselves based on simpler metrics that we can completely control? Something like, how did I contribute today? Right? Did I contribute to the world through a smile and conversation with a stranger? Was one of my contributions simply letting somebody into rush hour traffic ahead of me? Maybe I shared a message of appreciation and love with someone in my world today. Maybe that's my value. Right? When we feel low and sad and depressed and alone, instead of reflecting on external stuff, what outside will make me feel better, let's stop, go inward, and maybe give. Give of our time to go walk in nature. Give of your time to express gratitude for all the abundance in your world and all the love and the special people that surround you if you just take a moment to recognize them. Maybe we pick up the phone and we call or text and have a meaningful conversation. You see, I truly believe our value on this planet is determined by our thoughts of ourselves. No matter what anybody else tells me, no matter what anybody else gives me as far as rank or status, if I don't choose to put my value higher in how I see myself, I don't choose to love myself and see myself as worthy of giving and sharing and having something to contribute to the world, the external stuff does not matter. Our value on this planet is determined by our thoughts and by the light with which we carry ourselves and the space we give others to allow their light to shine. I don't need to be fancy. I don't need to have the best of this or that to be of value to the world. I need to know that I'm valuable and to give. You see, every day the universe is going to put somebody in our path that we could impact through kindness, a gesture, a conversation, a hug, or by just being you at that moment. That's our value. When we choose to love ourselves, our faults, our shortcomings, our imperfections, knowing that all of that makes me whole, then I can be light and love in a world that desperately needs you today. That's our value. We can all do it. We don't need anything else. We need to see the love for ourselves, the light in ourselves. Then we got to go out and let it shine. So I challenge you, community, this week, test yourself on how you're assigning your value. Go inward, not external. Love yourself. Choose to embrace your imperfections. Choose to embrace all the messy parts of your life and know that that makes you whole. Now walk a little lighter today. A little more bounce in your step. Have that smile on your face and allow your light to shine so somebody else can shine with you. Have an awesome week.
And remember, team, life is far too short to live any other way than on purpose. We will see you all again next week.